Good week of practice. Got ahead on Colorado State. Light, so get some guys back that have kind of been banged up. So good week, and looking forward to another good opponent. Colorado State's talented team. They got some talented skill, so it'll be a great challenge for us.
Question. During the bye week, obviously you evaluated how things were going through 4 weeks. What were a couple of the really good things you saw, and a couple of things that really need fixing?
Yeah, I think offensively, the run game has been really good and great at times. And then I think the good part in the passing game is every week it got a little bit better and better, and the managing of the game at the quarterback position. So those were really positive things. Then there's things we can continue to work on, from a situational standpoint, calls in certain areas, stuff as coordinators, and I did as a coordinator, you look at yourself and reevaluate, okay, what could I have done better? I think as coaches that was big for us. And then defensively, there's been some really good stuff. The way Purdue ran the ball was something we definitely addressed. Okay, why was this an issue for us? From a technique standpoint, from a schematical standpoint. So I think it was just a great time to take a deep breath and really evaluate what do we need to fix moving into these next 4 games.
Did you anticipate such a heavy time of possession for you guys? And now that you're there, is that something that's your identity now, that you want to be that team that holds the ball to that extent?
Well, we want to be in control of the game. So yeah, I say, we want to run the ball, and we want shots down the field to come off the run game, which I think it started to show up at Purdue. We had some more explosive plays. But yeah, possessing the ball kind of is 2 things to me. It's one, it's your offensive being efficient and being able to move the chains, but it's also you're being able to get off the field on defense helps you possess the ball more. And I think against Purdue, especially in the first 3 quarters, that was taking place. We're moving the ball on offense, and the defense was getting off the field fast. And so that's what we want to be for sure.
And then defensively, what stats do you pay attention to? What matter most to you?
Number 1 is points. That's the number 1 thing that matters. And then when you look at 3rd down and red zone, how efficient are you in those 2 areas? Because that's where points are created. The ability to get off the field on 3rd down, and then when they are in the red zone, hold them to 3 or less. And those have been stats that have been pretty good all year, and will be a big part of continuing to have success.
Coach, you mentioned getting some guys back that were banged up. Just who specifically you got in mind there?
Guys that are banged up that might have missed this last week more than anything. I think another week for Darius and his foot, and it was good to see him come back against Purdue. Just really things like that. There might have been a couple guys that may or may not have played, would have been questionable, that would be ready to go against Colorado State.
Just getting into specifics with that, we've seen Olu in uniform the past couple weekends on the sideline. He still has only played 3 snaps since that Iowa State game. You anticipate him getting back to full speed here soon?
Yeah, he practiced every day during the bye week, and really looking to get him back on the field. So hopefully Tuesday when we get back and we're in full pads, he'll be ready to go.
And then on that note, what's Noble Thomas's status right now?
Noble's out.
Do you have like a timeline for him? Or?
I don't have a timeline, no.
And then we didn't see Bray versus Purdue. Do you kind of continue to expect him to get that 3rd series, or?
Yeah, that was kind of just the way the game was and where we were at. We talked to Jabari about that. Sometimes you have to shift in game based on what's going on and how the game's going, and that's all that was.
What are the next steps you want to see Giovanni take as we move forward in October?
Yeah, I think it's continuing to progress like he is, making great decisions, protecting the football, and then when we have those opportunities to stretch the defense downfield, we need to make those throws and make those plays.
As you kind of look ahead to Colorado State, both you guys are coming off of buys. What stands out to them on film?
Again, their skill, their offensive skill, really good receivers, quarterbacks, good player. Those are the things that really stand out to me on them on offense, and then they're on defense. They're sound. Their guys play hard. They play fast. So they're a challenge that way. They know what they're doing. They know where to fit.
Your team is tackling really well this year. Is that something you worked on any different than in previous years?
No, I think it's always a case of leverage, feet, but as far as training it any different, no. I think guys are just, one, good athletes, and that always makes you a better tackler. And then just doing a good job of focusing on their pursuit angles so they're on the right leverage and in the right fit. I think that's the biggest part.
4 games into being a head coach, what's jumped out at you as maybe something you didn't expect or learned actually being in the role?
Just focus-wise, the shift in that from less of exact X's and O's and game planning to situational and strategic planning and thought process. I think that's been the biggest thing.
This being that time of year where you're 4 games in, is there anyone planning on taking a red shirt at this point?
No one that's played. There's some guys that haven't played much and we're gonna save their years instead of wasting, maybe running down on one kickoff or something like that.
Yeah. Why do you feel like you guys aren't getting into the defense, the defense isn't getting to the backfield as much as maybe you have the last couple of years?
I would say up front, especially the last year, we had some experienced guys that were really good players. I mean, when you look at John McCartan, Chatfield, James Rawls, Joe Gold, they played a lot of football for us. So they were able to play just a little bit faster because they knew the scheme really well. I think our guys are continuing to get better and learn exactly how to react, exactly how to do that. So I think that'll take a little bit of time as all those guys are new up front and pretty young up front. That's probably the biggest thing.
Where's your level of concern on kicker at this point in the season? Everett's a 57% career kicker, which is not great. Where do you go with that position?
I still have faith in Everett. I think a lot of the stuff early in the season was some operational stuff that wasn't his fault, that was out of his control, whether it be snap or protection. He's accurate, he's got a great leg. He's just got to continue to trust and believe in himself when he goes out there. And then we got to help him by having the snap in the right spot, hold down, and good protection around him. So I think it's more than just Everett, but I have all the faith in the world in Everett being able to make the kicks we need him to make.
With this being the first game you're going to play against a future Pac-12 member, with that announcement being public, I'm just curious, have you had conversations with the head coaches of those programs and, with Coach Norvell coming here, just kind of, have you guys talked about that realignment shift at all? Or
No. I know for him and probably I know for me and probably for him that it's just not something that's a big worry or concern for us right now. It's about what's happening right now, and all that stuff's going to happen a year or two down the road anyway.
When you are out recruiting or just out on a bye week and you're getting a sandwich somewhere and there's a game on, how much do you pay attention to it if it's a league opponent?
I pay attention to all the games. It's fun for me now. You're going through, especially in those end of half, end of game, you're going through that thought process as you're watching the game. That's kind of how I watch the game now. But you pay attention to who's on your schedule. How's this team doing? How's that team doing? If you have a chance to watch one of the teams you got coming up in the next couple games, I'm definitely tuned into that.
But do you get as amazed as we all do at things like the Alabama game, things like that, in a fan sense, even though you're a football coach?
A little bit. I mean, there's always, what would you have done in that situation type stuff, but I also know, having been a coach and been in those situations, I mean, there's just decisions you make at the time that if it works, it's great and you're a genius, and if it doesn't, then you're an idiot. So that's just how coaching is.
Thanks, Coach.